what I saw at the possibilities back then with the internet and what I see at the possibilities with AI are just, we're talking this to this. Can you imagine that? Right? I mean, it's just, I can't even comprehend where some of this stuff is going to go. Yes, it's scary. Yes, it's scary. But you got to get on the train because your competitors are.
Hanging out at the 85 mark. 5% team turnover rate sustained over 15 years.
Yeah. Thank you. All right. Pleasure. Thank you. Welcome, everybody. And thank you very much for having me out here. Looking forward to this conversation. But before we start, I do want to set some ground rules here. 980 days. Anybody have any idea? 980 days. Why is that relevant today? First time AI was available. 980 days. And I start this presentation saying that because you hired an expert to come up here and talk, but I am by far not an expert in AI in any way, shape, or form because it's so vast and changes every day. And what came out 980 days ago is not relevant at all. It's not relevant at all. Just yesterday, something new came out, and I was up till 2 o'clock in the morning saying, okay, do I need to bring this into the presentation? Right? ChatGPT just released open source AI that you can bring into your company. Right? So things are changing on the daily. But what I want to do today is get you at least advanced to get caught up to where things are. How does that sound? Sound good? All right. Well, first, I like to have a little fun, and we did send out a survey. How many of those people filled out a survey? Let me tell you, not enough. But what I did know is this. We had, what are your concerns? What are your goals with AI and so forth? And the survey really said here, data security and cyber security. That's a What are your options? What are your options? You can discuss that internally with your leadership team, but what I want to share how it works so you can be educated around that. I'm going to talk about accuracy and quality control. That's something you guys wanted to talk about. You know, you put bad data in, you get bad data out. But I'm going to share with you how this system works so you know how to use it and what to expect. Authenticity and the knowledge gap. We're also on the survey results. Sound good so far? All right, this is what you all said here. As far as how you plan to use AI, efficiency and time saving. I'm going to share a couple things on that. Content creation, how many marketing people in here? All right, we got a couple hands. I'm going to show some things that will just blow your mind on what you can do today with AI and marketing. Customer service, we got a couple. All right, maybe we'll talk later, all right, because it's only one. And process improvement. Come on, every hand should be up for this one, right? I saw a couple. All right. Well, this is what the survey says that I'm going to be focusing on. And then a couple other problems. Practical implementation. Where do you even start? Where do you even start? And I'm not talking about just using ChatGPT and Claude. Everyone's doing that already, right? Hands up of people who are using that already. Vast majority. What's after that? Right? So we're going to share some things there. How about for sales? All right, we're going to share some things on sales. Anybody using Gamma in sales? Perfect. So at least we got one good win there. Some advanced usage I'm going to share, and then overall ROI and how it can impact profit. So a lot to cram in 1 hour. I'm going to go super fast, but I know you all want to see all the cool stuff at the end, so we'll get to it. Overall themes that we got to, again, is security and trust. Practical implementation and efficiency, and where are things really going in the future. So I hope I can answer some of those questions for you guys. That's a lot to cram in. You guys ready? Yep. All right, rock and roll. Let's go. I'm skipping the whole thing on my past, on what I've done and everything, but what you have to trust me on, I have not seen a more disruptive technology in my life. And I happen to be on the cusp when the internet came out to the public. Back in the early 90s, I developed an application. Anybody play guitar in here? All right. Anybody use Tab to play guitar? I was the guy who invented putting that on online for the first time and got sued. And and that was really cool, part of my life that allowed me to say, hey, this is what's available out there and what you can do with technology. When the internet came out, I was like, wow, Dad, I'm not going to go work in the government. I'm going to start a company. All right, you can imagine how that went. What I saw at the possibilities back then with the internet and what I see with the possibilities with AR, we're talking this to this. Can you imagine that? Right? I mean, it's just, I can't even comprehend where some of this stuff is going to go. Yes, it's scary. Yes, it's scary. But you got to get on the train because your competitors are. And I'm going to show you examples where you're like, wow, we're in a forklift business. No one's using AI in forklift business. I'm going to show you something where I'm going to show you a product, and I was happening to go scrolling through it. It's a forklift company in Portugal that's already building applications internally. Right? So this stuff is happening. It's happening fast. I'm not much of a math guy, but I do remember this when I took my first math class in college with computer science. And you all know this because we all know the S-curve, right? And the S-curve basically, you have growth over time and you hit a plateau. And maybe when you hit that plateau, you introduce fundamentals or EOS in your business, or you join something like a group like this to help you get to what? The next level, right? That's what we all want. And in that time when you have to jump, there's a decision you have to make. And when you make that decision and implement it, you better implement it right. Right? Because there's something called the valley of death. Right? Introducing something into the company incorrectly can kill your culture, can have massive turnover, can ruin productivity and profit. Anybody been there? I have. Come on, I know there's a lot of hits. Thank you. Yeah, right? You just implemented it wrong. And you failed, you learn, you move on to the next one, right? What people aren't talking about with AI as much is how do you implement AI in your business? How do you do it, right? Because right now you see all these shiny objects and all these promises, but you really have to think about the people. It's change management 101. So your people right now, when you bring AI, how do you think they feel? It's a threat, right? And the morale that they're feeling is confused, frustrated, insecurity, anxiety, and sadness. Hey, there's a chance that, hey, where are those marketing hands? Hey, let me show you, I know you write all this stuff for our stuff, but now we can just do it in Claude. So, I don't really need you writing anymore, right? Oh, the video guy, your budget, we're going to use Google Flow now. We're going to move your budget from $50,000 to $10,000, right? And I'm expecting more, right? You're going to go through this cycle. All your people are. And if you're not controlling the narrative, I promise you they're controlling the narrative. And you're going to start losing people, good talent. And what we have to do is close this gap with this valley of death. We got to make it happen fast. We got to give the training. We got to help people move from where they are today to getting through the AI process. And eventually we'll get them to the acceptance, exploration, problem solving, and really integrating them into using AI. Anybody ever see anything like this? Well, it's Psychology 101. It's the grieving process. All this stuff that I'm showing you is all recycled from things that just actually work out there. But, one of the reasons why AI doesn't go well in companies that I've seen is there's really no strategy. None. So I'm going to share with you what a strategy is, how you can do a strategy. I'm going to share with you how you can implement AI with your people. So we're going to start there. Sound good? Number one thing with strategy, there's a million strategies out there that you can pay for that cost a ton of money, from McKinsey to Gartner, MIT. They're awesome. Problem is, unless if you're putting a space shuttle up in the air, it's overkill, right? But they all start with one thing. They all start with a shared understanding. And let me tell you, how many leadership people we have in this room? It starts there. Starts there. Starts there. Leadership has to come together and be like, hey, why are we going to go down this? And if we do, why? And you got to have some really good answers over there. And you all got to come out of there 100% saying we're doing this for these reasons. Some people in shared understanding, it's, everyone thinks it's all about job replacement. Very few are about job replacements with that shared understanding. Most of it has to go is how can we eliminate waste? How can we automate? How can we simplify our processes, right? Very few times do I go into a leadership team and they're like, we're going to use AI and we're going to get rid of 20% of the staff, right? I know you read all that stuff out there. I'm going to share how realistic that stuff really is, and we'll go from there. So a couple things. I'm going to teach you managing complex change, the 3 stages of that. I'm going to give you a model that you can work. I'm going to talk about phase 0. Anybody here ever hear of phase 0? Anybody implemented an ERP system or Salesforce? All right. And you haven't heard of phase 0. How many of those systems failed when you launched them? You're the only truthful guy over. Oh, I got one more over here. Thank you. Everyone else is perfect, right? But the phase 0, it skipped every time in technology. And I know if you have Salesforce people, yeah, guess what? They're geniuses, the best salespeople in the world, and they'll skip phase 0. Phase 0, remember when I talked about strategy, is the number one thing that you have to do before any technology implementation. If you do it, your success rates quadruple. I'm going to talk to you, I'm going to bring out the inner nerd in you. We're going to have to talk about how AI really works. So for about 5 minutes, we're going to get nerdy. Does that sound okay? Only 5 minutes. All right, so don't fall asleep. But I want you to understand how it works. It's not magic, right? And I think it's really important that if you plan on implementing AI in your business, you have to understand how it works at a high level. I'm going to talk. I don't know, because it just makes me happy, The next thing we're going to talk about AI agents. How many people heard of the word AI agents? Does anybody have implemented an AI agent in their business? We got a couple of them. What does it do?
It basically intercepts conversation with customers.
Chat box?
Taps into different tools and helps guide them through a decision.
Nice.
So we started off with the engineering, where basically it gives notification if any project is behind or we're missing, email. So it's basically be more efficient.
Perfect. One more?
It was a previous business outlet. It did drawings. Like it'll make drawings.
It'll make drawings.
While you're doing something else.
Yeah. Great use cases. Right? Great use cases. For those that don't know AI, we're going to explain what they are and how they work. Right? This is AI agents. It's a huge term. We'll kind of narrow down what it means, but when you read the Wall Street Journal and everything, where it's like AI agents are taking over jobs and we're going to explain what that is and how it actually works, when not to use it, when to use it, based on time here. Like I said, we got a lot here. And then at the end, we're going to end with some examples, because you guys like to see stuff, right? One of the things I learned when I do this presentation, I used to just go straight to all the examples, and everyone was so confused, and they're like, it was awesome, but, it doesn't work. So I want you guys to go through this process with me, all right? Number one thing, guys, managing complex change. AI is all about change management. That's it. And when you implement AI into your business, you really need to think of these categories. Number one, do you have a vision? Do you have a vision? When you started those AI projects, did you have a vision of, hey, we need to solve this problem and it needs to do this? And you gave what success looks like. Because without a vision, what will happen? I actually have the answer up here. You're all supposed to say it in unison. There, let me try this new toy out. Right there, a little lower, there, a little up, right there. If we don't have a vision, we have confusion. Thank you. Now you know how this works. All right, so you guys start with a vision. Second, you have to have consensus with your team. I can't tell you how many times AI projects started and that one person was like, I don't know about this. And guess what they did? I set this up for you guys.
Sabotage.
Yeah. Yeah. They sabotaged it, right? They're just protecting themselves and their families. You can't be upset with them about that necessarily, but you have to give the consensus. By the way, everything I'm sharing with you guys, I promise I'll send in an email. So you don't worry. If you want to use cell phones, take as many pictures, just get me in them because, I shaved today. But I'll send you everything in here. And not only that, I even have a sales pitch at the end where if you want to talk afterwards, you can do that too. So, but you guys got to get the sabotaging part. And it will happen. It will happen. I see it happen a ton. When I say a ton, out of like 10 projects, 3. That's a lot. The next thing. Okay, let's go build AI agents. Nicholas, great name by the way. Nicholas, go build one. Exactly. Because you have to invest in your people. Yeah, you actually got to invest some money. And you got to train them to give them this skill set, because if they don't have this skill set, what are they going to feel? Yeah. You guys with me so far? This is a tough one. Hey, marketing, we're going to now use Claude, and we're going to be writing more and more content, and we're going to start using videos with our stuff in it, and I need you to get twice as much out quantity-wise. Well, what's my incentive? Right? Especially if you may have to release some people and then replace them with some of these systems. What's the incentive there? And this is, you got to get right. Because if you don't have the right incentives, what's going to happen? Guys, come on now. You guys are catching. All right. Resources, right? You got to get them the right resources. The nice thing is with AI, it's really not that much, but it's really difficult to keep cost of what's what here. I'll tell you one of the hardest things I have with the resource, it's not the computer or any of that stuff. It's keeping track of how much people are spending. I feel like it's a casino where they just go with these things called credits or tokens, and they just keep going. Anybody else feels that way? Yeah, good. Thank you. Right? By the way, later on, I'm going to explain what those tokens are and what they account to and everything. So we'll get there. But you got to give them resources, and you got to give them, part of that is getting them the time to do that work. Because if you don't give them the resources, what do they feel? Oh, you guys are better, a little bit more in unison on the last one. The last one is you got to have an action plan, right? You got to give them a plan, If you do all these things right, but you give no plan, what do you think is going to happen? Yeah. You guys are getting good. All right, so take this. This is a great thing to put by your desk when you're managing complex change. It doesn't need to just be AI or technology, but it's a nice little check mark. You guys catch it? Pretty cool? All right, so now let's get into the people, the most important part, because without people, our companies are worthless, right? I didn't hear enough people say right on that, which scares me a little bit. And in doing this, with doing technology over the years and bringing any type of technology in the company, I really went back old school, and I found this guy, Kurt Lewin, right? Lewin. Anybody hear of this guy? All right, neither have I. He's the father of psychology. And I started getting interested. I'm not much of a psych guy, but there is so much between the basic fundamentals and just pulling out just the basic simplicity of things and bringing them back in our complex lives. You guys catch what I'm saying there? Right? And he really simplifies change. And he states it in this way. People come to work, they do their job, and they're in a frozen state. Can you guys relate to that? People come to their job, they do the same thing every day, they get paid, they go home, they make dinner, they go to bed, right? And that's how they're automatically programmed. And what you have to do is unfreeze a person, right? And once you unfreeze them, they're now ready for this change that you're going to bring in. And So you unfreeze them, you give them that change, and then you refreeze them to what you want, right? It sounds really, really bad when you put it this way, but I mean, it is what it is. Now, for those anybody go to therapy? No, you don't have to say it, but this is therapy 101, right? Now, how do you bring that into AI and why is it relevant? This is it. When you try to implement AI in your business with people, right, it's not easy. There's words that are coming out like gatekeeping, people having information, and if you guys were a whole company and this is a department over here, they get to work on AI, but no one else does, right? Anybody starting to have those culture problems? Or maybe you get to build an AI agent, we'll invest in you, but no one else. You guys catch what I'm saying? You really have to think of it strategically in your company of how you bring it in and make it something not scary. Because you know, that first slide I showed you earlier, that's how people feel. And what you have to do is start in that unfreezing part. The model's this. It's really simple. Start with create a sense of urgency. You have to have a reason of why. Then from there, you build your guiding coalition. Then from there, you form a strategic vision, and that will unfreeze people. And do it with your whole company. I advise you start with leadership, because I can tell you one thing. If leadership doesn't understand AI or isn't using it, don't expect anybody else to. Right? It's kind of like the fundamentals. If you break the fundamentals on the top, is anyone else going to follow that? No. If you start putting out, hey, we're going to be an AI company and we're going to do all this cool technology stuff, and you're still on your BlackBerry and have an AOL account, probably going to fail. Yeah. So, just keep that around here on that readiness part. But then you go to the next one. Enlist a volunteer army. Not voluntold, volunteer. Let me tell you something. Companies are going to be running a lot different in the next year or two. These people that are going to come and bring in AI and technology into your company, those are your future leaders. Because instead of people managing other people at a table here, they're going to be managing this group of people, and they're going to be having a group of AI agents that they're managing as well. Right? People will be managing people, and they'll be managing agents underneath them. Right? And the people that are capable of doing that are the ones that just have that grit and it in their heart to do that work. Find those people, invest in them. Your job, get rid of any barriers. Right? Get rid of any barriers. Number one job you can do. This is the biggest thing. Generate easy wins. My biggest failures over the last 980 days with AI was taking on too big of projects. Every single time. Start with the simplest things. Even if it's overkill, it doesn't matter. Just get it to work. And you can always build on it. Anybody else fail with AI trying to make it do too much? One person. You guys are kind of boring today, man. One person. Only one person failed using AI on a project. Guys. Yeah, you got to use it. How many people aren't even using AI? 1, 2, 3 people. All right, 4. Oh, boy. All right. All right. I hope this relates to you guys. All right. Generate easy wins. That's what you got to remember. Generate easy wins. Start with really easy things. I'm going to give you some ideas. Right? Once you do that, then start increasing the pace and the complexity. A little bit at a time. A little bit at a time. And then, once you get there, you refreeze. And that's a magical place to be at. You guys with me on this? Sounds pretty cool? All right. Phase 0. The phase that is skipped in every big ERP or Salesforce implementation technology. Because people come in and what do they want you to do? They want you to sign and pay, right? That's what they want you to do. So they skip this phase saying, don't worry, it does everything. We got it. Right? You guys relating to that? Thank you. All that phase 0 means is the following. This is strategy 101. You talk about a strategy and technology. All the strategies out there from McKinsey, Gartner, MIT, there's like 5 other big ones. They all have this. Before you start anything, understand your business processes. How can you possibly buy something without understanding the current way that things are working today? Right? Duh. Right? So, what the digital strategy starts with, number 1, understand your current state and then document what your future state could look like. That's it. Even if you do this alone, understand the organizational change. Hey, if we implement these AI agents, does it impact all the jobs at this table? Did you talk to them before or after that implementation? Right? Imagine implementing AI on this table over here that's decimating all the jobs over here, but you're not communicating. Right? Think about the people and how it impacts the people. Over-communicate. The biggest thing is you implement technology that really disrupts internally, over-communicate. Over-communicate. Right? Understand your current systems. How many companies out here have more than 5 systems that run their company? Hands should, come on. Work with me a little bit here. 10 products in their company. 10? 20? 20? We're a small company. We have 60 people. We have 98 products. 98. And the problem is, out of those 98, maybe 4 talk to each other. Right? Now I see people saying, oh, yeah. Right? So people keep buying all these things, but none of them talk to each other. Right? We'll talk about how AI can solve that problem here. You got to talk about the architecture of how it all works together, your BI, AI initiatives, and analytics, and your quality. But this is your 101 strategy. Before you implement something big, just go through this. That's it. Because the fail rate on technology, ERP, Salesforce, and so forth, 85, well, on AI, it's roughly 80% of ERP systems do not hit the value that they were sold. Right? That was a McKinsey thing. Another stat, if you don't do these things, that came out is 85% of AI projects never deliver business value. That's from this one's from Gartner that just came out. And I'm seeing about 80% of projects that I'm seeing that companies implement with AI fail. Point blank. But it's new. We're all figuring it out. There are no experts. You're going to fail. Just fail cheap, fail forward, fail often. Keep things moving. Right? So, all right, now we're going to get into some inner nerd stuff. You guys ready for this one? Just bear with me a little bit because you really have to understand what these words mean, or else all the other stuff really doesn't make sense. So before we get into this, does anyone really have a math degree or understand vectors or databases? We have 1 person, 2, 3. Okay. So don't say anything and just pretend that I'm right. Because all right. So number 1 thing you have to understand. Anyone hear this word token in AI? A token? Yeah, right? So a token, what is a token? In math, we're all taught 2 plus 2 equals. I'm going to show you in AI, 2 plus 2 is 4-ish, and why that matters, right? A token is equal to a word. So 1 token is equal to a word like dog. That's a token. 2 tokens could be kitten or running. Running. There was a lot of misspellings in AI in version 1.0 back in the day because it didn't catch the 2 N's in running. Right? You guys with me on what a token is?
So it's like a syllable?
Kind of. There's no real rule of thumb, but the best way is to think of it like that, right? And as you go, 4 tokens is artificial intelligence. 100 tokens is, 75 to 80 English words. 2,000 tokens could be a paragraph or a blog post. 1 token's about 0.75% of any word, right? And you really have to understand this. Bear with me. We got to get a little nerdy so this all makes sense. But you have to understand what a token is to really understand how this works. So what happens is when you feed anything into AI, it just puts everything in tokens. With me so far?
Key search words.
Right. With me, all right? Now, to bring it up another level, AI doesn't see words at all. There's no words in anything with AI. It actually converts these words, what are tokens, question mark, to 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0, 12, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. There's no words. You guys with me so far? So, it takes these, puts these into numbers. This is what you have to understand. Just bear with me because this is really important. It then creates something new called a vector database. Now, we all know Microsoft Access or Excel, right? If you look something up, it's a one-to-one value, right? So you get one-to-one, not really creative in any way, shape, or form. You want something, it's black and white. It's this or that. What this does is put all these numbers in a vector database, right? Just think of a vector database as a 4D object for now, right? And it just plots them in clusters, right? So if I was to give you king is to men as woman is to queen. Paris, France is to US as US is to, yeah. CEO of a company is equal to president of, yeah. Bark to dog, cat is to, right. And what it does is it just puts these things in clusters, these numbers. You guys with me in this database? So it just allows these clusters of words. So if you're talking about, the easiest way to put it is if you're looking at toys. We all like toys. I love toys. If you're going into a box of toys at your house for your kid and you're looking for a truck, right? And imagine now all the trucks with 4 wheels are put together and they're yellow and red and so forth, and you can pick one, right? But maybe with AI, you're looking for something fun for your kid to do and it knows it's a kid. And it understands that you're dealing with a kid that's 10 years old and they want to ride a truck. And then it looks in there and you see the 3-wheel big wheel with a brake on the side of it. Right? You catch what I'm saying? In a database, it would just find a truck. In this, it connects some dots where you get that big wheel now. You guys following me? And that's what makes this really powerful, is you have these clusters over here. And what's important that you have to understand is when you're using ChatGPT or Claude, and I'll just stick with those for a minute, you can only send it so many tokens. You can only talk to ChatGPT with 128 tokens, roughly about 3,600 words. That's all it can remember, right? And with Claude, it's 57,000 words. With Gemini or Grok, it's about 1 million tokens. You see why this is getting, you have to understand this. So when you're talking to any of these systems, you can only find so many clusters in this vector database. Now, the reality is a vector database is the most complex thing you've ever seen. I told you it was 3D or 4D graphics. It has over 100,000 different layers. We can't even physically comprehend it. People don't even understand how it truly works. But it does. And it's able to take these words, put them into numbers, and then plot them in. Right? Super nerdy for a minute? Right?
You don't buy the tokens.
You do buy, yeah, we're going to get into that in a minute. You're already on it. Yeah, so you are buying tokens. So how many times when you use systems out there does it say, hey, you got to buy a credit? Well, credit's a token. And you pay every time you send a token in a ChatGPT. Yeah, right? That's why I'm trying to, you got to understand this part.
So is the payment money or is it?
Yeah, of course it's cash.
Okay.
Yeah, of course it's cash. So we'll show you some examples because I got to move on, but I'll show you them. And there's 3 ways that you can control AI. Temperature, top P, top K. I know you guys have never heard of this, but you use it all the time and it's extremely relevant. Temperature controls the randomness, right? So when you're in that cluster in that database, how big of a cluster can I look at? Top P limits the words. I want 50 things from this spatial area. Top K, give me the final one. Right? And that's how you control AI. Due to time, I'm going to skip some of this stuff, but in what you need to know in a nutshell, it's like saying, I'm hungry. I like pizza. Right? I'm not feeling really adventurous. I love pizza. Top P will say, well, I'll give you the top 90% of the foods out there that you enjoy. Top K will say, here's your final menu. That's how AI works. That's it. That's the 101 of AI. It's just a vector database. It's different from saying, I'm going 10 miles per hour in my car, an absolute, to saying, I'm going 10 miles per hour in my car northbound. That's a vector database. And what that allows is for AI to be a lot more creative based on how you control it. All right. That's why when you hear about these words, prompt engineering or context engineering, that's why they're really important. You're controlling the tokens, the temperature, top P and top K. You guys with me? I told you we'd get a little nerdy for a minute, but I think this is super important to understand. So whenever you're using a prompt, the best things you can do, give it a role, give it some examples, tell it how you want the output, give it a goal, give it some references. I personally love to say, anybody go into their AI and say, ask me 3 questions before you answer my problem. Anyone do that? Revolutionizes the responses. And then you set your constraints. And all we're doing here, guys, is focusing on what clusters in the vector database so I get the best results back. I hope this is helpful in understanding how AI actually works. It was a little nerdy, but I hope that hits with you guys. I see some lost eyeballs. I see some people saying, yeah. So, all right. AI agents, all they are is an AI agent is something. You all have automation in your businesses, right? In the past, automation was, hey, have something do this. If this happens, do this. If then statements. That's how most of our automations are done. What's happening now with AI agents is they're able to say, hey, instead of if statements, we're dealing with this cluster in the vector database, right? I'm going to start making decisions. I'm going to use an LLM like ChatGPT or Claude. I'm going to give memory so I can remember what I'm doing. And you're going to give me the tools. Maybe the tool could be your ERP system, Salesforce, whatever, and then you're able to tell it to do something. I'll show examples of this. That's all a definition of an AI agent is. That's it. Any questions so far? How about I show some examples? Because I think that's going to be good. So, couple things down here. I do want to answer this, which I love this slide, which you're all going to, where do you start with AI? I said earlier, start on the bottom. Find the jobs that are all the way on the bottom that are the simplest tasks to do and start there with your AI. Share, what are some of the top tools that people are coming to Orsys for other than learning Claude or ChatGPT, right? Number one thing, remember I said, well, none of you raised your hands except for like 3, but companies that have all these disparate systems, right? Your accounting, your CRM, your ERP, they're all over the place, right? Do they talk to each other? No. What do you want? You want answers, right? AI came out with a solution. What this is a product. Everything here is free, but you do need a nerd to help set stuff up. And what it does is imagine ChatGPT or Claude underneath your business, but it has access to tools in your system. So it can connect to, I don't know if you guys, I'm going to make something up. We're a Google shop. We use Slack, Google Drive. We use something called GitHub that has all of our code in it. We use Confluence. That's where all our documentation is. Jira has all our tickets. Like, these are problems. You guys with me? And what I'm able to do is in this system, hey, get access to all these things. Sorry about this. Let me just have this. I told you I'm not a pro. So what I'm able to do is I can say all these things. It's endless to what you can connect a RAG system to. If you have a system, I promise you it can connect to it. There's a way to make it happen. And what I can do is come in here and say, how much did ABC spend with Orasys? I don't know. And it's going through and it's checking all the different sources, and it's going to tell me where it got the data, because we don't like hallucination, right? Never trust AI. You always got to double check it. So it's going to come in here and say, hey, at the latest update, ABC spent 1.8. And I can just sit there and keep asking it questions based on the factual data that people put in their email, in Slack, in the ticket system, CRM, and so forth. This is called a RAG system, R-A-G. R-A-G. Number one thing that people want in their business as AI 101 stuff. Sound pretty cool? All right. Let's go on to the next one.
You can plug ERP systems into there.
Absolutely. Yep. Yep. I'm going to share this one. I love. Let me see if I can get this working. Salespeople in here. How many of you guys? Well, anyone? How many of you guys in here actually record your meetings? A lot of people record. Everyone, what do you do with those meetings? Anything? Sometimes you critique. AI dictate it. So we have a tool here. This was fascinating. I have 15 minutes here. Sorry, I'm trying to keep me honest here. I'm not going to be able to just do this demo due to time. But what this does is phenomenal. Forget PowerPoint. How many people love their PowerPoint? Yeah, I know. I had a client call me one day, a restaurant association of Maryland. And he said, hey, Nick, I got your name, blah, blah. This is what I want to do. I want to build an app in the state of Maryland where all the restaurants can be part of this. And in this app, if you go to a restaurant, they can show a code, a barcode, and they get 50% off on just the food, but not the alcohol, of any restaurant in the state of Maryland. And I sat there and I asked him some questions for about 30 minutes. And then it dawned on me for a second. I'm like, hey, tell you something, Mitch. Can you grab a cup of coffee real quick? I want to play around and try something new for once. You have to be daring. So now me as a CEO, it's easy for me to say, hey, let's go do this. But how do I empower my people for that? Think about that. So I said, go grab a cup of coffee. I want to try something. I took the transcripts from our call. I took the transcripts from the call right then and there. You with me? Put them into Claude and say, Claude, build me a proposal for this project. Guys, it did it all within about a minute or two, right? Put together an entire proposal, objectives, key challenges. This stuff used to take, Larissa, how long did it take to put proposals like this together?
Oh my gosh, it used to take hours, the whole team, a few days.
Right?
Yeah.
You guys with me? And I said in the meeting timelines, and I gave them a cost in the meeting as well. They put it all in there. I did nothing. So I walked them through this. Well, it gets crazier. You think this is, wait till you see where this goes. Sorry, you're like, holy. So I did this. So imagine salespeople. What's going to start happening is you're going to have conversations with people ask them the right questions, take those transcripts and put them into this, and you have your proposal. And it actually works. I'm not selling you fake stuff. This is real. It actually works. Larissa, how many times has it worked for us?
At least 10 times since we started using it. It's awesome.
Now, I want to share something with you. The first time we did it, I then did this. I knew it could work. I went to another sales meeting. When I was in there with Tom, I said, Tom, use Gamma. He's like, man, I'm not comfortable using AI yet, man. I'm going to do it the old way. This really happened. So I said, okay, I'll use Gamma. You do it your way. He stayed up all night. And he texted me that night. He's like, man, I'm really struggling on this proposal. I'm having a glass of wine. My wife is pissed that I'm not spending time with the family right now. I got to get this out. I promised I'd give it to you tomorrow. This really happened. Next day we sit down. Tom, how's your proposal? It was half-assed, right? He did the best he could in a little amount of time. I took the transcripts in front of him, put it in Gamma. I said, here's the proposal that I came up with just now in a matter of a couple minutes. You could almost see the tears in his eyes, right? How do you empower your people to take these risks? You have to answer that. Build an environment of safety. Build an environment that allows people to explore. And some of these projects are going to fail. For every success here, I got a whole bunch of stories of failures. All right, now it gets even cooler. So, anybody try to build an application before? Right? So then I took the transcripts and I said, Mitch, does this look like what you want? He said, yeah, that looks like what I want. That's a really cool. I said, I did something else for you. Anybody hear of this product called Lovable? Right? Lovable people? One. All right. I then took the transcripts of what we did and put it into Lovable. And it built, I got to find it now. It built the entire clickable prototype of the product. Here it is. Yep. Seriously. This used to cost me roughly $75,000 to $100,000 to do prior to AI. Yeah, everything's right here. The dashboard, the restaurants, his profile. Oh, his name was Marshall, sorry. Everything's right here. I'm not going to get super detailed. It has the back-end interface for it, everything. Now, it doesn't work. It's just a clickable prototype. But then I was over preparing for this, and I was like, yeah, but is this really relevant to the forklift companies at all? And I went to, any of you can go to lovable.dev. I'll give you a link for it so I get a couple extra credits because I need those tokens. And and you can actually share some of your work and see what other people did. You guys see all this? This is what people put out there for the public. Look at this, a forklift navigator. Yeah. So there's a forklift company, and not only can I come in and view it, I can hit this remix, and it's a company in Portugal that is running it connects to their system. Obviously, I can click a button in here and get some data. And basically, it's how they're managing their forklift operations in Portugal. And I thought this was relevant because sometimes when I do these presentations, like, yeah, but we don't really need this stuff. I'm like, guess what? They're already using it in Portugal right now. I went ahead just because I thought you'd ask, and I converted it to English. So unfortunately, it's like still working on it, but I do have an English version of it that's coming here quick. There we go. That's what it actually says. So I was able to take it, convert it over into English, and see what they were actually doing. Pretty wild, huh? I got one more story, and then maybe we'll get a little Q&A. All right. When doing AI, the best thing I can tell you is solve your own problems internally and start really, really small, right? This is an AI agent. This product's called N8N. N8N, I'll give you links to all this stuff. And basically, it allows you to do exactly what I talked about earlier on having an AI agent that has an LLM, memory, and tools and does something, a workflow. I love connecting with people. Tom and I both love connecting with people. And when we go to meet people, you know, part of it's just getting to meet people and talking, right? But one thing I don't do well is prep for a meeting. How many people here prep for a meeting well? A couple hands. All right. Well, I'm terrible at it. And what I wanted to do, I was like, wow, and this is what I did. What's the most tedious thing that I hate doing, and let me automate it. I started with that story. So I went into N8N, and I said, every day at 4 in the morning, go in my calendar and scrape all the meetings that I'm having, research that person on LinkedIn, on Google, do a company background, summarize it to me, and send me an email. Right? Now, so I did it, and this is what I got back. Right? And I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. This is pretty cool. And it worked pretty well. And then I started thinking, man, I wonder what else I could do if I if I actually use some of my nerds like at my company rather than me trying to figure this stuff out. And I went back into Lovable, right? So again, guys, there are no you just got to figure stuff out on your own, right? Like there is no, I didn't know what I was doing. Half this stuff didn't even exist. I was on TikTok and I learned about Lovable like 3 months ago, and then I went on to Lovable, and I said, Lovable, I want to build a product now. I want to build a product that takes that concept. And it said, well, let's call it Conversely AI. And this is what your website should look like based on what you told me. And it kind of built this website for me. You guys see it? And it even built out my model, right? This is kind of funny. I asked it to interview me and give me a little story about it. And it came up with, well, you're Greek, and there's something called a Rosetta Stone. It had 3 languages on it, and Greek was the language that allowed them to understand the Rosetta Stone. So you are the Rosetta Stone of meetings. I was like, that's good enough. I'll keep that. Then I was like, you know, all these things have a letter from the founder. So I'm a big Ravens fan. So, hey, you're a Ravens fan. We're going to make the site purple. And it gave a little thing here. And it kind of interviewed me and wrote this whole thing for me. I'm lazy about research. I'm impatient about results. And I'm obsessed with genuine connections. It was pretty damn accurate. And I thought that was sweet. But it really didn't have anything behind it. Until I said, well, build me the login. And I want to know how I control the system. And it built it. And I said, I need a referral system to market it. And so, well, let me take the best referral system out there, which was done by Hiri's Shaving Company. And we're going to take their concept and put it in here. And this is how they did it. You guys with me? And then I gave it to my nerds. And then my nerds actually built it. And today, this is what I get in the morning. It actually works and gives me something.
So before you gave it to your nerds, that was just a concept.
It was a concept with that one email I showed you that was really simple. But I knew it was just enough to get a proof of concept to be like, I think I should invest in this. And I share this story with you because as you're solving problems for your internal companies, someone's going to say, hey, we solved this problem here. I guarantee you there's 1,000 other companies that have this same problem. Should we package it up or not? Anybody dealing with that right now? We got 1, 2, 3. Let me tell you, anybody ever hear Lovable came out 6 months ago. Their valuation, I think, was, oh gosh, I'm going to screw it, some billions of dollars. First company to reach $100 million in monthly recurring revenue in just 3 months. Right? Do you know how many products are going to be coming out that are solving micro issues? Do you know how many companies are going to go out of business because I can come in here into Lovable, build me a replacement for DocuSign. Build me a replacement for my CRM. Interview me and build me exactly what I want. And it's going to go through and build this stuff for you. And we're only 980 days in. Imagine what's going to happen in another 900 days. You have to be thinking where the puck's going, not where it is right now, because it's moving really, really fast.